Okay, yeah. So by anti-realist, I just mean I deny the existence of all facts.
Wait, okay, so I have a philosophy on morality, and it's probably nowhere near your philosophy on morality. I take a biological approach. When I think of morality, I think about it being a capacity to do something like balance, right? Like I can get up and I can balance, right? But how should I balance, right? If I ask myself in a vacuum, how should I be balancing? That question means nothing. But if I'm on a boat, I should be balancing by adjusting my angle of my hips and knees and ankles in accordance with the waves and shit so that I don't get vertigo and, start, puking and shit like that.
I
Right?
mean,
Like balance would be contextualized by my environment, even though I have the biological capacity to produce neurological functions capable of interpreting balanced information. I can do that with morality. I can assess human behaviors, right? This is something I can do. I can see that people are behaving in ways,
yep.
and then I can reach a conclusion whether I like those behaviors or not. That's just a biological function. Now, that I reached a conclusion about I like that behavior or I dislike that behavior, that's going to be going into what I call morals, right? The rules, systems, ethics, codes that develop because we have the biological function of being able to interpret moral information. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
So I mean, I just take it that you're saying that we create our morality, and like that creation is dependent on like environmental factors. I can agree with that, but then I just disagree with like what's it called? People generally just talk about morality in the sense of preferences. I don't know what the argument for that would be.
What was that word? I didn't
Do you
understand
think
that
whenever
word.
people are saying like people are saying this is moral and this is immoral, they're typically trying to say that I like this or I dislike this?
So like, but they're referencing human behavior.
Yeah, they're talking about human behavior, but do you think that whenever they say, "Oh yeah, this human behavior," e.g., like murdering someone, do you think when they say that is wrong? Do you
Well,
think
hold on. We
that
don't have to go to an extreme. Do you know how to prison fart? You ever
um
heard of prison farting?
no?
So prison toilets have this really high suction thing, right? Like when you flush it, it just sucks real hard. Now,
Uh-huh.
if you have a cellmate or maybe a couple of cellmates, and you got bad gas, you should be farting into that toilet. So when you fart, you flush it. It sucks your fart out of the small confined quarters that you got. That's a moral rule that developed amongst the inmates. The inmates came. There's no rule on paper about prison farting. It's just a courtesy that you don't want to stink up the environment you're all stuck in together, so you prison fart. And if you don't prison fart, you can get in a lot of trouble for not
Yeah,
prison
so
farting
it just
properly.
sounds like we do particular actions, and you're trying to say that that aligns with their preferences, therefore that would be what they consider to be moral. But again, I don't think typically what people are trying to say whenever they say don't prison for whatever you call it, they're talking about, oh yeah, don't do it because I don't like it. I think most of the time, the authority they give it seems as if they're talking about some independent things. So, like, even if they did like people
Wait,
prison
what?
farting, they wouldn't want, like, even if they did like people prison farting, they'd
Bro,
still say
not
it's wrong
every
to do.
fart is prison farted in prison.
Yeah, that's
Sometimes you just
fine.
want to attack your cellmate with a fart, and your cellmate probably does the same thing. But you definitely don't want to continue to, like, if you have like bad bowels, right? You need to do the courteous and ethical thing, and that's to fart in that goddamn toilet.
Yeah, but I don't think
You're
that's how.
doing it all the time.
Yeah, but I don't think that's how people use the word ethical, though. Like, I know or moral, I
No,
should
no,
say.
no. That is what I'm saying here is there's no rule book out there. There's nothing these people learn, living in their household or going to school or anything that taught them about prison farting. Prison farting came about due to the circumstances placed on humans in groups and having to interact and share space.
Uh
Right?
huh.
We need to be able to study a person's behavior because, dude, we are threats. We're potential threats. Every human being has a great capacity for violence. Any human being.
Uh huh.
And we need to be able to interact with one another. And so we've developed methods and tools to read each other's behaviors and in turn anticipate human behaviors
Yeah.
so that
So.
we act in accordance with,
Yeah.
right? So
So
we
I
have
disagree.
this is why I'm saying, hang on, that we have the natural biological functions that facilitate social groups because we're a social animal. This isn't always the case. The farther you go back in time, the less social animal we get, and in turn, the less genes we have regulating behaviors amongst one another. That we develop behaviors for our own safety and security in the environment that we're in. These are rules that we establish for our own safety.
Yeah, so I just think that typically the reason why we actually over time as we develop we are starting to develop these sorts of like rules specifically isn't just, oh well, we're developing it to keep ourselves safe. It seems as if the reason why we're developing it is because we're becoming more and more sensitive to like what's it called, to the moral facts, right? So again, it'd be like if you say the prison farting as an example, we didn't like prison farting isn't something that exists mind independently, but after experiencing this thing and you come to know all of the natural facts about this thing, so you now know how it affects your cellmate. A rational person would obviously then come to know the moral fact, which would be, oh yeah, this thing is wrong to do. And usually if you ask most people, oh yeah, do you think murdering or slicing the neck open of an innocent child, do you think that would be moral? If you thought it was immoral and then or you thought it was moral, and the answer would obviously be no. So it seems as if the sort of intuitions that we're having towards morality.
Yeah, it's a biological function.
It just seems as if like we talk or we usually do moral talk as if there is a moral fact, but I don't accept it existing.
No, dude, you're being slapped in the face with what this thing is, but you just don't like it, so you try to give it more. You want it to be more than what it is, man. And I don't know.
I'm not saying
that problem for you.
I'm not saying that there is a moral fact there. I'm saying that the way we speak, we aren't speaking as if
there are. I'm saying there are moral facts here, right?
Are they natural or not natural?
Prison farting is about establishing facts about human behavior.
No, okay, yeah, it's a fact that the action is occurring, but this thing that we're assigning to it, that being good and bad, I don't think that's actually a mind independent
thing. No, there's more facts than that.
Like what?
For one, the fact that humans are provoked to behaviors given certain other behaviors.
Yeah, but that wouldn't be identical to a moral fact. That would be identical to a moral fact. That would just be identical to a fact about human behavior.
Have behaviors? Yes, that's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact
that those behaviors can be manipulated. That's a fact too.
Yes.
That social groups that find cohesive interactions fare better. That's a fact too.
Yes.
There's a whole mountain of facts here.
Yeah, but none of them are identical to a moral fact. So you can tell me that, oh yeah, they're all of these natural.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they're all of these. Okay, so it'd be like, if I say murder is wrong, it's a fact that somebody got murdered. It's a fact that I think that the murder was like bad, right? Or I think that the murder should have been done. But whether or not the murder is actually wrong, even if I didn't think about it, is something completely separate. So I don't know, even if you could tell me there are all of these facts about what's going on, to say that there is a moral fact is something completely different. To say there's a moral fact,
there would be no cohesive society if it wasn't a moral fact.
I mean, you can have a cohesive society and remove the moral facts there. So people can just act as if there are moral facts, as I said before.
No.
However, they just don't exist any. So we're just in error.
Societies that don't agree that murder is bad don't exist.
No, they can agree murder is bad, right? But murder is bad just doesn't exist, or like murder being bad just doesn't exist.
Murder is bad because it's bad for a cohesive society. Societies need to function that way. That is a necessary condition that, dude, just like in language, in order for two things to be communicating linguistically, like we're doing language, they don't just transmit sounds and listen to sounds. That's not language. That may be communication, but that's not language. Language is a specific set of rules, right? It's an actual structure, right? Syntax, grammar, you got a lexicon, you've got definitions, you got all this shit that is involved to make something called language. So two dogs barking aren't speaking a language. That's not a language going on. Two wolves howling in communication. That's not a language. That is communication, though.
Yeah, saying that there's a fact about what is best for society. I'm saying that.
Well, hold on. I'm trying to draw a picture here. In order for language to exist, there need to be facts going on that establish linguistics, the rules of linguistics.
Not right? Necessarily.
If you have missing elements to linguistics, you don't have linguistics. If you have missing elements to societies, you don't have societies. Right? There's this greater societies aren't just like two groups of people bumping into each other. They're living in cohesion, large groups in relatively small areas under social construct rules. you're just trying to pretend that you can just remove these things that are foundational to a society and it can function otherwise. And I'm saying, no, there are critical things to a society. If your social group doesn't accept the concept of murder, you don't have a social group. You will not have one of those. It will not come to exist.
So you said that there are facts about how like we speak. I can agree that there is a fact about how we speak, and like also called, you could say there also is a fact as to how we would best want to properly communicate to each other. However, to say that this fact exists mind independently, so even if nobody spoke at all, right, we should still speak this certain way, right? Or even if nobody believed this thing at all, we should still speak this certain way. That just seems to be something egregious to say. Nobody would say that if I want to speak in this certain way, or if I want to write in cursive, you can say, oh yeah, you should write in cursive because you like the way cursive looks, right? However, to say that, oh yeah, you should write in cursive even if you don't want to, and even if nobody believed you should, it's just something completely absurd. So even if people think that, oh yeah, murder's wrong,
why would...
Wait, so even if people think murder is wrong, you could say that the reason why they think so is simply you could just reduce it down to like a whole bunch of things. You could say, oh yeah, that's just how they're evolutionarily made up. So they're made up to believe murder is wrong. However, murder isn't wrong actually mind independently. Do you think that is actually...
I don't understand. Like, you're just talking at this point. I don't know what you're going on about.
Yeah. I'm just trying to say that people can behave as if murder is wrong without it actually being wrong. The same way how people could behave as if the moon had an actual gender when they did it.
I don't care how people behave. I understand that they behave. That's what I'm talking about when it comes to why do we animals, why does the human animal, the Homo sapiens sapien, why do we live in these societies? Why are we the way that we are? Is governed by our biology. There is a conjunction of our biology and our societies. Because of our particular biological nature, we can have the societies that we have. If we didn't have an innate, built-in mechanism to allow us to reach conclusions that murder is bad, there would be no society. We wouldn't be the human that we are today.
Yeah, so
this is baked in biological nature of us.
Yeah,
it's how our chemistry occurs. We don't need to be told to feel this way when we get a squirt of oxytocin. We just feel that way when we get a squirt of oxytocin, and we like it. We like that dopamine oxytocin combination, and we keep doing it.
Yeah, so almost we can have this biological drive to actually believe murder is wrong. I can agree with that. And the reason why we have that biological drive is specifically because we want to actually, we want to, how to explain this? We want to actually have a conducive society. But to say that's identical to some moral fact, seems to be...
They evolved in conjunction. As the society got bigger, this is a slow time process. As the society got bigger, people in that society that were more influenced by the pressures of society fared better, and this would be an epigenetic influence.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't necessarily it became genetic. It probably became solidified in our genes, but social adaptability and social cohesion would have manifested as it does today in different levels in different human beings. And the human beings that fare better in social groups tend to be better off in social groups.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
that's a super simple proposition there.
But that's invalid. I can accept all of the premises there and still disagree with the conclusion that more facts exist. I can accept that we've evolved this certain way, and people who behave as if they are or act as if in social groups, or how do I explain this, or become part of social groups, they end up better evolutionarily. But that wouldn't lead to the conclusion that there are some moral facts that exist. You could say lions fare better whenever they... because...
I'm not saying all alleged moral facts exist, but it seems to me to be the case that as society grew and as animals tended to live in those societies, that there would be an establishment of that society can only be the way that it is if there are certain facts established by their own biology.
Wait, so do you think that so you think that lions also, there's moral facts about how lions should behave, right?
They do.
Wait, so okay.
But watch
so to
Kevin
be clear,
Richardson, and then imagine you walking into the cage with the lions.
Wait, so to be clear, you think that there are moral facts as to how lions should behave that they adhere to? So you think lions are moral agents?
They are.
Oh my god. Not a single person would accept that. Like, okay, typically what we would
I
observe,
would
look,
say every zoologist would say that
no,
lions have the capacity for moral
typically,
agency.
you would agree that whenever we make moral judgments, we tend to act upon them, right?
Uh, Typically, I don't know what you mean by typically or atypically.
Like,
Sure,
okay,
sometimes our beliefs
yes.
often lead us to act in certain ways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so can you give me a singular example that you can actually provide evidence for of a lion observing some moral fact to exist and then acting in accordance to it? And I also want to know, do you think that like these moral facts that lions have, do they not apply to people? If they're supposed to be stance independent, then why would they not also act towards people? Why would they give people a reason to act in the same way lions do? Like, did I lag out or hello? Am I lagging? It's I attempted to. Oh no. Jungle gun. Wait, I can't hear anything for some reason.
I guess you lagged out.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
you should fix that.
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me?
I'm lagging out. Why'd I. Okay. Why'd I lag out? What the hell? I was trying to beat that guy up. My god, I'll pause the recording until my Wi Fi is fixed. The room doesn't exist anymore. I'll just upload this.